Welcome to episode 49 of PuckPod by B Sports. We don't have David today because he is partying up in Las Vegas. Christian, I don't know if you saw Snapchat stories, but he's having a great time. I wish I was there, can't lie.
I really hope Dave's having the best time possible. We'll hold it down while he's gone, but priorities, right? I think we'd both rather be in Vegas, but it's okay. You know, he'll have a great time, and we'll get all the stories when he gets back.
I definitely need to, like, this summer, I definitely need to do something because, like, the second year summer for law school and third year summer, apparently, like, you have to work at firms. Like, it's really important to, like, get that done. But
So
this
you
summer,
basically only get one summer then, yeah.
yes, essentially.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
Do anything big
Gotta
this
make the
week or
most of
no?
it. This week, this is back to the same old working and watching the Leafs. Um, I've been usually working nights, so I have to end up recording the Leaf game and then watching when I get home. And the latest problem this week was I get home after the Washington game and I'm watching the recording, and my dad's like, "Are you in a good mood?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "Then don't watch the Leaf game." I'm like, "Why the hell would you say that to me? What are you saying, that we get spanked or whatever?" And obviously we end up winning 4-1. But he was trying to he was trying to
Precisely.
sway my thoughts while I was watching the game. I was ready to explode on him. So yeah, but it ended up okay. How about your week, Brian?
It's okay. School's picking up. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. Work's picking up too. I'm tired all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
I
but
feel that. I feel that.
getting a lot of chances to watch the Capitals, and well, it's been getting better, but nothing big. Like the Shane Pinto situation that we have. Shane Pinto has been suspended 41 games by the NHL. As of right now, we don't have the full details.
We're slowly getting more and more. Like when this first broke, there was a lot of speculation of what he did to end up with this suspension. A lot of people were thinking that it was just him directly betting on the NHL, which we found out wasn't the case. A lot of people thought it had to do with him betting at a team facility, which is also against the rules. That also wasn't the case. Um, there was even some people speculating about, and I guess it's good to err on the side of caution where, like, is this a problem? Is he going through something? Is this an addiction case? Is this like a NHL PA, their program that they have for this type of stuff? And I think people were speculating a little too much when you get into stuff like that. And it turns out that basically the concrete information we have is that it was because there was a third person involved, so a third
Proxy
party,
better.
proxy better, betting in his name with his money. So this could just be, once again, this is speculation, but the third party that is betting not on behalf of Shane Pinto, but Shane Pinto has basically just said, "I'm an NHLer. I've got lots of money. I'll just give you my account details for whatever app he's betting on, and you can just throw some of my money around." But you can see how that's a problem on the NHL side of things. You can also understand how NHL players maybe don't get the idea of what's wrong here, that maybe they'd had to have been noticed in advance of why this is wrong. But 41 games is a lot, but it sounds like they were looking at 82 at first and that they negotiated a 41 game suspension. So I don't know. Where do you land on that, Brian? Do you think this is like the right amount, too much, too little?
I'm not a lawyer yet. Hold on. What an asterisk there. What an asterisk there.
Keyword
But
yet. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure proxy betting is illegal. Like, obviously each state is different, but you can't do that because sometimes
Yeah.
the betting account is tied to a social insurance number, and that's when you get in muddy water. And yeah, um, I think that I don't think that Pinto tried to do anything like malicious. I don't think that he was like fixing games. Like, I genuinely think this is an
No.
honest mistake. But I think that the league does need to stand up for itself and make it clear, like, you can't mess around with this kind of stuff. You can't play games and you can't bet on NHL games specifically. I wish Dave was in the call because Dave definitely has a stronger take than I do.
You guys had I saw you guys had like a real good conversation when this broke while I was at work. So yeah, what were some of his thoughts,
So
if you have them?
Dave was on the basis of you can bet on anything you want. The league shouldn't have to worry about that kind of stuff until you start tampering on with hockey. When you start like messing with, you shouldn't bet on any hockey game. Like if Matthew Shane wants to bet on the Dallas Stars versus Chicago Blackhawks game, you can't do that. I'm just
No,
throwing Matthew
absolutely
Shane's
not.
name out there just for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
But Dave thinks that like anything else is fair game because it's not because the player would not have a direct influence over, let's say, the Raptors and Milwaukee Bucks if you're
So,
a
but I
hockey
think
player.
that basically is the policy though right now. Like, I think that's kind of how they're operating. It is apparently a copy and paste from the NFL's model, which is the same thing. So it's A, no betting within the league. If you're an NFL player, you cannot bet on any NFL game, even if you're not involved in it. And B, no betting at team facilities. So practice facility, home arena, away arena, like any facility that's an NFL facility cannot be used to bet at. Those are basically the two big rules. I'm sure the proxy betting thing, all that is also, but yeah. So I think that's fine. I think that makes total sense to me. I
It
wouldn't want my NHL players to bet within the
at
NHL. That
work.
doesn't sound good. Yeah. Or yeah, the team facility thing I get, but also yeah, like it makes sense. I can understand why the NHL wouldn't want that. And I think
Even
NHL
as
organizations wouldn't want their employees betting at their facilities either. It's like you're here to work for us, not bet.
even as a fan, like I wouldn't want a Capitals player betting a Kettler, just because like
Yeah.
you want the mindset at Kettler to be train. Well, Kettler's like our Ford facility. It's like our training arena, and it's like you would want them to be focused on their deadlift or whatever strides they're making or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
want them thinking
Yeah.
about whatever's going on in the KHL or like I don't know some NBA game or something ridiculous like that. You also, as a team owner, you also don't want your team to be influenced by external factors. If someone has a betting addiction, that's a serious problem, regardless of
Yes.
how severe the addiction is. As soon as someone becomes addicted to something and their mindset could be influenced, like that could impact performance, which would be hindrance on the team, if that makes sense.
No, I get what
And
you're saying.
and I think this also is probably why Pinto's contract went unsigned for what was it like? Well, it's been a month now.
It's really interesting because there was a lot of reporting in the lead up to the season. Like Elliot Friedman was doing like a Pinto update like every 2 3 days, and it's incredible that the NHL and the Senators and Pinto kept this under wraps for this long because this apparently took place as far back as last year, the proxy betting stuff. So
Wow.
it does make sense as to why the contract never came to be. It's almost a perfect storm for the NHL, though, that the first player, at least that we know, to violate their betting rules is an unsigned RFA. That is perfect timing for the NHL to make an example of him, right? This would be a much bigger deal if Shane Pinto had already been signed, let's say to a 2 year deal in the summer, and then had to be pulled out of the lineup for 41 games. It almost goes a little unnoticed. Not that, it's still the biggest story basically of the season so far, but because he's not playing right now, it's different. It's a perfect opportunity for the NHL to be like, let's flex our muscle here, show that we mean business with this rule, and hopefully it's a deterrent for other players in the future, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else you want to get across for Pinto?
I don't really have too many more thoughts. I think he's gonna end up signing like a probably close to like minimum deal, like probably like 800 or 900K. For the Senators, that's not bad because he'll end up back in their lineup in 41 games, and that'll definitely help them out. On the Pinto side of things, I mean, it sounded like he's pretty understanding of what went wrong. Like it doesn't sound like he's making a big fuss about it. And like I said, I'll be curious to see how often this happens, if at all, because he's the first basically in NHL history to get booked for this.
And he also like this is a moment for him to like to if he wants, he could go to the gym, he could get fit and take this time to like keep up his fitness, if that makes sense. If RFA is going to the point where they're not playing for half the year for contract reasons or for this reason, for example, is a good tell of a player's passion. I think that Senators fans will get a good knowing of who this guy is on the ice after the 41 game suspension. Obviously, he's probably going to come out a little bit rusty,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
I will say, like, when Nylander came back from
He
his
was probably
holdout,
not the best.
he was not like, but I'll tell you what, he looked physically 10 out of 10. Like he looked way more
Like Zeus.
jacked than he did in the first. Yeah, literally, man. Like I remember there was like videos of him practicing in Sweden, and he just looked way bigger. So everyone was really hyped. And then that season didn't really go too well when he came back. I think he played like 48 games and I think only like 7 goals. So it was not the best Nylander, but that's not everyone. Just saying.
Oh, hopefully Senators can get the most of this situation and make the most of it. They have a pretty solid team right now. So, okay,
Yeah.
let's move into the next topic. So, without Dave, we didn't want to get too deep into it, but we're just going to go over our too early to predict awards. So, we're going to be going over the major awards in the league, and then, yeah, well, we'll check up on it in a few months from now and we'll see what we think.
I feel
Okay.
like there's a specific reason why you wanted to do this, Brian. I don't know. Maybe I'm just I looked at my picks after and I'm like, hmm. So we'll talk about that after. But what do you want to start with?
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, the reason we're doing this is because I didn't want to talk about the Capitals. I know we're
Okay,
on the way.
well,
I know we're on
yeah,
the way
that's a
up,
good way.
but
That's a good way to duck in because I mean, yeah, we played you guys, but it's too late. I already spilled the beans that we beat you, but it's okay. We can we
uh,
can we can defer that conversation for afterwards.
okay. Well, we'll start with the heart. Who do you have for the heart?
I feel like we probably both have the same answer for Hart. Well, Art Ross is like I was saying earlier. We're just gonna do like who's leading Art Ross, and my Art Ross is my heart. So it's
Jack
Jack
Hughes?
Hughes, right? It's gotta be Jack Hughes. So he's got what? I think he's got 18 points in 7 games.
17?
That might have been updated. We gotta take a look here. The newest, yeah, 18 points in 7 games, 5 goals, 13 assists. He's undoubtedly been the Devils' MVP, and I would say MVP of the season so far. He's averaging over 22 minutes per game, 30 shots, so he's shooting a ton. He's just been all over the ice, and he's just been dominant. Like when I see highlights, it's just like,
It's amazing.
holy hell, yeah. So he was fantastic last year, but this is, yeah, he's really trying to push himself into the conversation of
Top
top
3.
five player, right? Like that's what I would say. Like it's when everyone asks like who are the top five players, I think most people would go McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl, Makar, Matthews. I feel like that's the five. That's usually the five. And he's pushing himself into that conversation right now.
Yes. I do have Jack Hughes for my heart and my Art Ross.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that my prediction earlier this year for the 105, I feel like it was a little bit low now.
Was that
uh,
your what was that, 10%, 5
that was the 90.
50%?
That was the
90%
90.
that he gets 105 points.
105, yeah.
And
And I
okay.
think like
Looking
at the
pretty good.
time I was like, maybe it might be a stretch, right? Like at the time I was like, okay, maybe he gets like 102 or 100, right? But now he
Yeah.
looks like he's gonna get 120. And
He's got a good
um,
head start, man.
one thing I will say is that the captain did play the Devils, and he is electric. There's something so like it's so natural that Hughes has. It's like it's not forced. If you look at another, I'm trying to think of another player that can do all the tricks, but it's just not natural. I've tried maybe like Marner or like yeah, that's a
Marner's,
good
yeah,
example.
I do like the Marner one because I think we talked about this last year when we were comparing them. Marner isn't as it doesn't look as flawless. Like it looks like there's more thinking going
Forcing it.
on where Hughes is like automatic. Yeah.
Yes,
And it's like the Nylander comparison too. Like Willie looks effortless
natural.
out there. Yes. Yes.
And, and that's something you can't teach, or it's something that has to be
No.
developed at like age 3 or something ridiculous
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And there's not many players that have it. And I think it's not teachable, so it's either you have it or you don't. And Hughes has it, and he's taking the Devils what looks to be to a potential conference final at minimum this year.
Interesting though
Obviously,
that he's doing all this too while the Devils are kind of wishy-washy to start the year. Like Lindy Ruff, I think, has already twice been like, "What the hell is going on here, boys?"
I
So
I'm
he's coming up clutch when they need him.
I'm telling you, like it doesn't like the way they play. okay, against the Capitals, they went down 0-3, but then within 3 minutes, they scored 4
Yeah,
goals.
yeah.
He was an assist on 2 of them. Heischer and Toffoli, were, like, the goal scorers.
Toffoli's been real good. Yeah, yeah. They're gonna
And
work themselves out, and they're gonna be a top team. Like I don't have any worries about that. Yeah.
it's it's not gonna be something that people yeah, it's not gonna be something to fight about now just because of the fact that they just have so much firepower. Like, it's ridiculous. The only reason that they're conceding goals probably, I wanna say just because they're a little bit inexperienced in the back end, but once they
The
figure that
goaltending
out.
too, honestly, right? A little inexperience there with the Schmid, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. Okay, let's move into the Rocket. I think we have the same answer.
Well, so yeah, I have who is leading the Rocket right now, and let's double check that he still is. It's the Brinket right now. You went off board here? Give me your answer.
Oh, yeah, we do have a different answer. I want Pasternak.
Yeah. He's right there. He's right there. If I had to give you my pick for like based off of what we've seen so far for the season, I mean it's still tough for me to not go with Matthews just because I'm watching him every night and he still looks dominant. I feel like he's been getting less shots in the past couple games, at least not like those grade A opportunities or like those open shots from long range. But as long as Matthews is healthy and as long as McDavid is missing even some games, I feel like it gives him a little bit of a window where he can be in that conversation. So I'll go Matthews on the full season. DeBrincat leads right now with 9 goals in 9 games, which is absurd. What's your rationale for Pasternak other than that he's really damn good?
I think he's playing with a vendetta. I think that he has
What's the
something to
vendetta
prove
to avenge his fallen
last
comrades?
season. I think last season he he's okay. He was last year. He was the best player on the Bruins, right? But he's not like the identity. He's not the face. Now he is
Sure.
that, and I think he's trying to show everybody that like I am the Bruins. Like this is
Yeah.
my team now. I think he's probably like 8 goals. He's probably right behind the Brinker at
Yeah.
9 or 10.
Yeah.
And Bruins are also ridiculously good this year again. I think that I think they've only dropped 1 point this whole season. It's a ridiculous stat already, and Pasternak's been leading the charge. One thing interesting too is I don't think he's had a solidified center this year. I know that's like the
They've been
first line center
rotating.
for the Bruins. Yeah, it's been bouncing around. Well, like where I'm going with this is that he's doing this with either Zaka or Coyle, and it's not confirmed yet. So I think Geeky's played center too for them. If he's once he can solidify some chemistry or like solidify a partner that's playing with him on as 1C, man, it's gonna be lethal. I
How
did
about our boy? See, we still don't know how to say his name. If it's
Matthew
Poitras or I heard
Poitras.
it. Yeah, I heard on the broadcast. I swear I heard Poitras. I don't know, so we don't know. But Bruins rookie that's really good. That's also a center, so maybe it's him.
He might be a first liner by the end of the year this year. Like it would be
Yeah,
weird
by
in the sense,
necessity, right? Like not that they.
yes,
Yeah, that's a
but
team that's looking for a center. But yeah,
but I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this year with like 60 points. I
he's
at
really
this
good,
point,
man.
yeah, at this point, who would be surprised? And they also, um, well, I don't know. They just look great. I don't. There's not much
The
more than
jerseys
that.
also look really great. Like I have to say, those Centennial jerseys are really sharp. So
Gorgeous, especially the
I don't
whites.
I don't like finding myself giving the Bruins
I,
compliments, but here I am.
I will be honest though. I feel a little bit dirty going away from my earlier prediction with Robertson and Matthews, but oh well. I don't,
Robertson's a little bit of a slow start, but hey, I'm holding it up on your end. I'm going Matthews still.
all right, Norris.
Did I sway your votes earlier, or you've got your pick still? Because my pick is Quinn Hughes. I think he went to start the year over 100 minutes without allowing a goal against that 5-on-5. And basically, in every interview that he's done, he's made a concerted effort to let people know that he understands what his reputation was defensively before this season, and he's looking to address it with his play. And he trained to do this in the offseason. And so far, so good. I think he's been phenomenal. And honestly, we've even been seeing him score more too, because I think in past seasons he's been an
He's
assist machine. I think
scared to shoot the puck.
literally, yeah, he leads the league in assists by defenseman. I think going back to 2019-20. So that's pretty damn good. But the scoring is up too. Scored 2 goals. I think it was 2 nights ago. So that's something to look out for. I think he's been really, really damn good. We're in the sea now in Vancouver, playing a ton. So he would be my pick right now.
I did have Quentin Hughes on the short list, but I didn't want to have two Hughes brothers on the list because
That's
just the
exactly why I did it, man. Come on, that's come on, come on. Yeah,
but I had Adam Fox. He
I
played
guess he's pretty good.
yeah. He played against Quentin Hughes last night actually. I gotta catch most of the game. It was Hockey Night in Canada on Football TV. So the reason I'm putting Fox is just because obviously he just does everything at a 99th percentile. Like there's not many players that just does what he does. One thing super interesting that I wanted to point out is Rangers power play. So they play a 3-2 power play flat, like the three is flat on the goal line. And
Okay.
but it's interesting because the three best players that carry the puck are all right-handed. So Panarin, Fox, and Zibanejad. But what they
Yeah.
do is that Panarin, Fox, and Zibanejad will rotate like this around the around like the blue
Down
line
low
of the
or at
wall.
the blue line? Yeah, the blue line. Okay. Yeah.
But whoever it's I think it's, well it's usually Panarin or Fox. Zibanejad usually stays point. They push forward and they rotate to make that three with Kreider and what's his name, Trocheck.
Yeah.
So you'll have plays where like last night, for example, Fox just runs straight back post. Kreider moves to the front post, and then Panarin just throws it back post, and it's so seamless. And it works out well because well they're all right-handed, and they need to make up for the fact that they don't have that the playmaker that's left-handed playing on the wall, and it works
Yeah.
seamlessly, and it's entertaining too. They have a really really good power play the way that it's structured. It's not Oilers good, but it's I think it's right up there.
Okay.
And you can't
Before we move on, then, or sorry, go on.
and you can't fault a guy that's legitimately a top three defenseman defensively and does the power play and offense and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure Fox has like 9 or 10 points right now. So
10 points in 8 games. He actually leads all defensemen. I just checked that right now. So far he's backing it up big time. So that's a solid pick. I will say, speaking of that power play, how many of his 10 points are power play points? If you had to guess.
maybe 6,
Eight. So
8.
that power
Okay.
play right now, listen, he's a bit of a PP merchant right now, but like I'm not faulting him. I know he's really damn good, but that's just an interesting stat. That power play has been really damn good. Because we're on the topic of Rangers, I'm just gonna very quickly shout out the third jerseys that were leaked, haven't been officially revealed yet. I know Brian isn't the biggest fan.
No,
He likes his diagonal Rangers. I don't know. I'm not that big on that, honestly, but that's just me. I like the Shield logo. It's a navy blue jersey with their Shield primary logo, not like Lady Liberty or anything, and some interesting stripe design. Personally, I'm a fan. I think it's gonna look really sharp. I've seen some people trashing it, but keep an eye out on those because
I
the
love it.
Jersey nerd I am had to shout them out.
I love it whenever I hate to say it, but I love it when the Rangers and Pittsburgh do they both do that diagonal. I think it's so pretty, and I think that we gotta like tell the people listening
Capitals,
to this, like Capitals or Washington, right? Probably Capitals would probably be better, right
I
down
think
the middle.
Capitals would fit really nice. Yeah,
But like no fancy stuff. Like I don't want to see like hockey stick or anything like that. Or I just want to see just in that beautiful font.
it's got to be a
It's
really
just
good font. That's the key, right? It has
yes,
to be a really nice font.
yes. Okay, we'll go Vesna.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make this really simple. I sent the data in the chat a couple days ago. Joseph Wall leads the league in goals saved above expected, or yeah, above average. Okay, in 4 games, I think he's at like 8 goals saved above average right now, ahead of everyone else in the league. It's a very small sample size. The Vesna is very hard to judge at this point. If I was giving a more serious pick, there's probably like Georgiev in there. I know Swayman was really good. I think he's got like a 950. But Joe Wall's got a 961 in his 4 games. He hasn't missed a beat. He's just been phenomenal. He hasn't had a bad game yet. So I'm just gonna give my guy a little bit of kudos here. I don't usually go with homer picks for awards, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's a fair, reasonable choice. He's been good, really good. And like Dave definitely hit the nail on the head with breakout play of the year with Joseph Wall. He's
Yeah,
definitely going to be a
yeah.
star, and I think that that makes Samsonov now expendable for you guys. I'd say.
It's going to be very interesting because, listen, you still need a second goalie for a playoff run and for the playoffs. However, he does make 3.125 or 3.25. If we're trying to add, there's a world where that contract doesn't make sense and we might just be better off without any backup. But I don't know. I think it's still way too early to write him off. And he was actually decent last night against Nashville. It's way too early. And I do think that the Leafs fans in general have been writing off too early, considering this guy was the first goalie to win a playoff series for us in 18 years. Like, it wasn't Freddie Anderson, it wasn't Jack Campbell, it was Ilya Samsonov. I think we got to put a little bit more respect on his name and give him a bit more of the benefit of the doubt. But that doesn't matter. What's your Vezina pick?
It's not Joseph Wall, but it's Jeremy Swayman. He has not dropped a single point this year. I think he's probably 0.95 something, 0.957. That's what it is. I have it right here. Those are pretty good numbers. And if you count on the fact that he hasn't lost, period, 100% win rate, can't go wrong with that. And it just shows you that Bruins have two goalies that can act as the starter, which is kind of ridiculous if you think long term throughout 82 games. Do I think that they're going to go they're going to have the God squad and go 65 and whatever again? No, but at least you have reliability on both sides. I can't say the same about most teams, my team being included.
I think even Olmark would have been a fine pick so far because I think he's only dropped the one game. I think his save percentage was up in like the 940s. Like, Bruins are once again a wagon. Starts with their defense and their goaltending. So it's kind of scary. They still have the best tandem in the league, and I think we would have said that last year, right? So not a fan. Not a fan. Too many
Um,
Bruins compliments, Brian. It's not good.
Ulmark has probably dropped one. Well, we know he's only dropped 1 point because
Yeah.
Swayman, yeah, hasn't dropped anything yet, which is pretty ridiculous at this stage of the season. Obviously, we're barely 10 games in. We're literally 10% of the season in, but we got to see. Okay, Selkie.
I want you to start your Brian because I want you to tell me like how we can even rationalize a Selkie pick this early because I feel like the Selkie pick is the and the Norris too. It is like the advanced stats pick. So I did some advanced stats research here, but like it's just so hard with freaking 8 game sample size to be like this guy was the best defensive forward. But give me your pick.
It's William Karlsson.
Okay, okay. Yeah, what's our rationale here? He's been really good, like offensively.
William Karlsson has been really good offensively, but
Yeah,
most of his starts have been in the defensive zone. 16.6%, like of the actual starts have been in defensive zone. He's coming out flying. And this is on a Vegas team that has been flying, but in the it's in the sense that he's not. Remember that year he had 40 goals or whatever?
that's the OG Knights here. Yep.
Yes. This year he's still playing consistent third line behind Mr. Jack, not Jack Hughes, Jack Eichel and Chandler
The other
Stevenson.
Jack.
So
Yeah.
where I'm going with this is that he's doing everything he needs to, blocking shots, scoring, putting up the numbers of a first line center, playing limited minutes on a third line as the third option. I feel like
It's
the
impressive.
Selkie, yes. I feel like the Selkie is an award given to a player that showed up big, but is also not a liability defensively. But this guy's showing up big on both fronts, and it's going under the radar completely. Maybe because his team is like front loaded, but it
Do you
helps.
know who? Just to give you some ideas here, because I know you're bringing up like the defensive zone starts and everything. Because I was looking at those too. Do you know who leads the league in defensive zone starts, like percentage wise?
It's got to be like Devin Taves or something like that, like a defenseman.
It is Nick Dowd, and second is Beck Malenstein.
Oh
It's
wow,
pretty interesting there. Yeah. So I was trying to see like who's up there otherwise, and there isn't like a really like great pick for Selkie. What I also looked at is like penalty differential. And so leading the league, or actually, sorry, second in the league in penalty differential is Nico Hischier. So that tracks. Then I was also looking at things like shot blocks. Well, who's the shot block leader among forwards? It is Nick Bonino by a mile. He has 28. Second is Boone Jenner with 15. So I don't know what the hell Nick Bonino's eating there other than pucks in New York. But yeah, if I had to give a pick, I'm gonna go with Nico Hischier. I still think he would have been my pick before the season started, and so I'll stick with him there.
Nico Hischier is a good example of a player that would be in the running for like a Selke in the sense that he's good enough to get the clout, but he's not in that MVP caliber. You know,
Yeah.
it's like the Kopitar Trophy, right? At,
Yes.
at this foot, or it's like he'll never be in the running for Art Ross or a Hart, but he'll always be in the conversation just because he's just that good. And I think Heischer is an excellent pick. Okay, Jack Adams.
Okay. So I've got two candidates here. You can quibble with who we would go with. I got Bruce Cassidy and I got Peter Laviolette. I know that you love Peter Laviolette, but it's hard to argue so far with the results right now with the Rangers. I think they've been pretty good to start the year here, playing a different brand of hockey, and most importantly, getting Lafreniere to produce. Right, I think he's got 4 goals in 8 games. It's not like burning the world, but that's a great start considering the past seasons for him. So if he's able to connect with guys like Lafreniere, Kako, Hedel, Schneider on the back ends, the young guys that the Rangers have been waiting for to break out to complement their veterans and like Kreider's advantage at Panarin. That's what they've been waiting for, and the results so far are good. I think they've been playing a faster brand of hockey. And Bruce Cassidy is just as simple as it's not easy to take a Stanley Cup winner and continue to look dominant into the new season. We saw that they broke the record for best start for a Stanley Cup defending team. And I think they did drop that game to Chicago in Vegas while Dave was there. So Dave is their bad luck charm. But yeah, so I think that's impressive. And I think Cassidy deserves a lot of credit there for keeping his guys focused because it'd be sometimes we talk about how you want change after winning a Stanley Cup. You don't want your team to get stale. This team is basically exactly the same, except for Riley Smith, and it looks just as good, just as focused.
If not better.
Yeah,
So I did have Bruce Cassidy on my list. I didn't have Peter Laviolette on my short list. I can't do that to myself. I can't even. I can't. No, no. But Bruce Cassidy would have been my final answer in the sense that no hangover. We talked about
yeah,
it last time, like last episode or 2 episodes ago when I talked about Stevenson. It's I don't think we've seen a team that's been this good after winning the cup. Like we always talk about the hangover that happens after. It's funny because like they partied harder than most teams since us, like the Capitals in 2018. But obviously, it looks like when business comes to business, they're serious about it. Maybe it's the cutthroat mentality that we always talk about the Golden Knights. Like, yes, they won, they can have fun now, but now they probably have a feeling that, all right, if we don't do it again, or if we don't get our stuff together right now, our head could be next to roll. And you foster a culture of, I want to say, I don't want to say winning because they've only done it once, but you foster a culture of seriousness, right? It,
yes.
you'll hear
It's
stories
just
about
team
like,
culture. It's the idea
yes,
that more players can come in and you still play the same. And I think they've had this culture even before they won. They've had a lot of like changeover coaching staff wise and player personnel, and yet it feels like they've always played the same brand of hockey, right?
just solid, fast-paced, structured, with
Big,
enough
just
star
everything.
power. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, what was I gonna say? Oh, I lost my train of thought, but it's okay.
Sorry, that's my bad. That's my bad. Okay,
No, no,
so
it's
Brian, we made our picks here, and the theme that I noticed, at least like on my pick, so Jack Hughes, I had DeBrincat or Matthews for the Rocket, Quinn Hughes on Norris, Joe Wall as my Vesna, my Selke was Heischer, but Jack Adams, Cassidy, and Laviolette. I'm pretty sure 95% of my roster, my picks
USA.
were American. This makes Brian pretty happy, huh?
I tried not to. To be fair, I did have Jack Hughes for 1 and 2,
Yeah,
Fox, and so that's like 50% of my list. But there's a good chance that the states just clear all the awards this year, just based on like the way that the players have been playing. Like, there's an argument for both Fox and Quentin Hughes. There's an argument for Jack Hughes just clearing the table for everything. Austin Matthews, obviously, but I wonder where the betting odds for the Rocket for him are. It's probably like 150 max. Like that,
yeah. I don't
there's
know.
probably a
I don't
better
know.
chance of him winning it than not.
We even Episde though, like there's Ottinger is a great pick. Swayman we already talked about. Like there's Americans there too. And Jack Adams, I'm pretty sure they're both American, Laviolette and Cassidy. Pretty sure. Um,
Lavia is American, yes.
yeah. So there's a good chance here, man.
And maybe rookie
Um,
of the year, Logan Cooley. You never know.
yeah,
Cooley
hey, we
could
didn't.
be
Yeah,
solid.
you're right. We didn't do calendar, but I mean, it's really tough to do calendar right now. It's really tough based off of just how what we've looked at, like how many games. But
The problem with the
um,
calendar this year is that
mhm.
all eyes are on one person. So just
Yes,
based
you're
off
right.
inherent, I don't want to say inherent bias because he's definitely earned the spotlight,
Yeah,
but
everyone
it's
falls a bit to the wayside.
yes. Like the average NHL fan probably doesn't know that Logan Cooley is on par with Bedard on points right now.
Yeah,
The
he's got
average
to catch up
NHL
in goals. I think he's got 5 assists. He needs his first goal still, but he's there. It's
he's
been a really
there.
good start. Okay, we're crunched for time. I want to really quickly hit you with some of this trivia here. This is
Yep.
my very fleshed out trivia that I'm calling one or none. And the idea here, Brian, is I'm going to hit you with 6 player names, and you're going to tell me if this person has a 1 point per game average or none, as in 0 points so far to start the season. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So your first name here is Travis Sanheim. Tell me about Travis Sanheim. Is he averaging one or none?
One.
Correct. He's got 8 points in 8 games, Travis Sanheim. All right. Your
Wow.
next one is let's go Ryan Strome.
None.
He's got 10 points in 8 games. 10 points in 8 games for
Wow.
Ryan Strome, assisting on those Vetrano hat tricks.
I guess the Islanders
Let's
just been hot this year, I guess. They're
yeah,
better
yeah.
than us this year, so
Okay. Evan Rodriguez.
Evan Rodriguez is at none.
He's at one. 8 for 7 so
No.
far, man. 8 points in 7 games. Okay, my boy Dawson Mercer.
Dawson Mercer is he's he's at none.
He's at none. 0 points in
Yeah.
7 games for my boy here. It's not been a great start.
He's
Okay,
running
I'll
through
try and
line.
hit you with. Yeah, it's not been great so far. Hit you with 2 more really quick. Blake Wheeler.
Blake Wheeler is at none. I saw him last
Correct.
night. He didn't look good.
Yeah, yeah. He's got 0 for 7 so far. And I'll give you. This is a twofer. They're both the same. You can tell me which one. Cody Glass and Barrett Hayden.
Vegas boys. I'm gonna say none.
They're
They're just
both they're
goalies that are
both the
front loaded.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody Glass is none for Nashville, 0 for 5, and Barrett Hayden is 0 for 7 right now in Arizona. So is Kerfoot 0 for 7. That was one for none.
Hmm.
One or none, Brian. Good job. I think you did pretty good accuracy over there, man.
I
Some
missed out
interesting
on
names.
yes. Well, 0 points is kind of ridiculous for this stage of the season. If you're
Yeah.
like a
I
like
feel I
all
feel
of
like
us
this is the
are
only
NHLers.
episode where I could do this because I feel like next episode most of these guys are going to pick up their first point, but we still had just enough guys with zeros and just enough guys over a point per game where it worked. So yeah,
Yes.
this
Okay.
won't be returning next episode, but yeah,
Yeah, maybe
let's
next
wrap
year.
it up. Maybe next year. Yeah.
Shout out to NHLshop.ca if you want to get your Jack Hughes jersey, grab it there. Shout out to Razor and Hockey Night in Canada on Football TV as always. See you guys next episode. Have fun, Dave.